Hey, what is up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Frassix, and if you couldn't already tell from the title of this video, I'm gonna be doing a question and answer video. I've always wanted to do something like this, but I just either haven't had the time or I just didn't have the motivation to do it before. A couple of days ago, I did a YouTube post as well as an Instagram post and an Instagram story saying that I was gonna be making a Q&A video and to submit some questions to me. And I'm honestly surprised that you guys came out with a good amount of questions that I was like, wow, these are actually really interesting. Some of them I've seen before, but some of them are pretty new questions. So I'm really ready just to get into this. And first off, all of the thoughts and opinions and whatever I say on this camera is just a direct representation of me. It doesn't represent anything else, like a certain organization, certain group or whatever. This is just me speaking as Frassix. And also a reminder, if I don't answer your question, it's mostly either because I don't feel comfortable talking about it or I just straight up cannot talk about it in general for whatever reason. I have my reasons for it, so please be respectful of that. And yeah, enough rambling on. Let's begin the Q&A. So I have the questions here on my phone. I listed them out and I divided the questions into two separate groups. The first part's gonna be more personal questions that are aimed more just at me and just who I am as a person. And then the latter half is gonna be more career / Air Force related questions. If you guys wanna jump to a particular question, there will be timestamps on the video as well in the comments. But besides that, let's begin this Q&A, and I'll start off with a question that is very important and I'm pretty sure you guys have been dying to know about, and that question is, how tall am I? But if you guys must know how tall I am 5 foot 10 inches, which I don't know what that is in centimeters, so maybe do some math, or I can do some math here for you. For the next question, we have a couple questions just about my life in general, what my childhood was like and how that basically shaped who I am right now. And I feel like my childhood was pretty good. My dad was in the Navy when I was born in California. Then a few years later, my sister was born, and then I think shortly after that is when me and my family had to go to Sigonella, Sicily, and my dad was stationed there for a couple of years. And since we were there, my dad and my mom decided, you know, hey, we're probably not gonna have this chance for at least a good while, so might as well travel to as many countries as we can in Europe. So that's what we did. They took me and my sister and we traveled to so many different places, you know, to like England, France, Germany. But the fortunate part is that I do not remember like 99% of it all. So when people ask, oh, which countries have you been to? I can say I've been to this country and this country and this country, but in all honesty, I don't remember it, so I feel like I'm a fraud saying it. But again, just because I was so young at the time and I didn't really appreciate me being there because I didn't really grasp the concept of traveling or whatever. But it's also very ironic and very fortunate of me being in this flight attendant job where I actually get to go out and travel to all these cool places, and especially places that, again, I have been to when I was very young, but I don't remember it. But anyways, back to my childhood. So yeah, we were there for a couple of years, and then me and my family had to go and get stationed in Virginia, and that's where we were for a couple more years. And then once my dad hit the full 20, he moved me and my family back to California and he retired out there. And that's where I've been ever since before joining the Air Force. Okay, next question. A couple of you guys have been asking about my tattoos, and if you guys didn't already know, I do have a couple of tattoos, only 4 tattoos. I got them very early in 2019 and I haven't gotten any since then. And I guess I don't know how to show it to you guys, but I guess I can start off with the very first tattoo that I got, which is this tattoo right here, and it is the Firefly logo from The Last of Us, which is a video game that I absolutely adore, and it was more recently turned into an HBO show starring Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, which I absolutely love that as well. And I don't know, this game in particular got me through so many hardships, challenges, good times, bad times. It was definitely just a part of me, especially growing up when it was released way back in 2013. The thematic elements, the soundtrack, the visual aspects for what it could do for the PS3, that was revolutionary. Not to mention the story. The story, I feel like, really is the main focal point of The Last of Us, and I absolutely love it so much. And that is also leads into this second tattoo that I got, because I got these two on the same day, which I actually wanted to do. If you don't know, in the second game for The Last of Us Part 2, there is a fern tattoo that the main character Ellie gets, and I kind of wanted to do that, but the full one would have been too much money, so I was like, okay, I'll just get a fern tattoo. Some people think it's a feather. respectfully, rightfully so. And then the second and last time that I went into a tattoo shop, I got the other two tattoos, which is this tattoo and this tattoo. This one is an Ariana Grande album, if you don't already know. It is the Dangerous Woman album. This means so much to me, not just the album, but I guess what the album stands for and the time that it was released. The first chance that I actually got to listen to the Dangerous Woman album was once I graduated after basic training. Then when I went to tech school in Monterey, California, that became essentially the soundtrack to that time, and I had such good memories. That was like the first time I was really like independent and traveling and like just going to all these places and learning about myself as a person. And then my last tattoo that I got is this tattoo, which if you don't know what this is or who this is, it is Nathan Drake and is from the Uncharted series, which is another video game that I so absolutely love so much. And ironically, it became the main reason why I actually wanted to go out and travel and be in an Air Force job that has some kind of flying aspect to it. If you don't know what the Uncharted series is, it basically follows the main character, Nathan Drake, and he goes through all these different journeys through all these different places. Just think like Indiana Jones or Tomb Raider for like the modern day. And looking back at it, it's just so interesting to think that that was basically one of the main reasons. I'm not saying it's like the main reason, but again, just one of the basic reasons why I wanted to go traveling in the first place. Just to have that sense of adventure, and just if they can make an area look so beautiful, a location so gorgeous and so lively, like I felt like I was so immersed in that world and I wanted to see that for myself. So I was fortunate enough earlier this year to go to Nepal, which is basically the main setting of Uncharted 2, and I was so happy the entire time. I was living out my Nathan Drake fantasies. If you guys didn't see that video, the link for that will be in the description below. But just to wrap it up, the Uncharted series has meant so much to me, and it still means so much to me, and that's basically why I got Nathan Drake tatted on my arm. Okay, the next question, or next couple of questions, just basically have to do with my dating life. Yes, I've been with this person for a couple of years and I am very happy to be with them. Okay, so the next question has to do with my free time and what I do outside of work when I am not working. And I don't want to be cliche and be like, oh, you know, I like to hang out with my friends, go out, blah, blah, blah. Because, I mean, like, I do like doing that. I don't know. I mean, I like to work out. I try to work out at least 5 times a week. And besides working out, I guess traveling, I like to go explore. I mean, I also like to create and edit videos. I mean, you guys know that obviously. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize how much time it takes for me to make a video. Okay, now I feel like we can start going into more of like the Air Force career related kind of questions. And I feel like one of the main questions that I've gotten is why I joined the Air Force in the first place. Well, as I previously mentioned, I was in California before I joined the Air Force, and I went into college for like a little bit at Cal Poly Pomona for just a couple of months. I went through summer orientation after I graduated high school, but then I actually started college and I was like, this is not what I want to do. And then I was failing like all my classes, and then towards the very end of 2015, I think like during like Christmas or holiday break, I really had to just like look myself in the mirror and just be like, okay, this isn't working out for you. What else can you do? And my parents, of course, they suggested for me to go into the military. And in all honesty, I didn't really know the difference between any of the branches beforehand. I just knew that, oh, military, everything's the same, but no, it's not. So when my dad, again, he was in the Navy, he was the one that actually suggested for me to go into the Air Force. And the process for me to get into the military was quite easy and quite quick, because I went through MEPS, which is what you have to do before you get sworn into actually going out and getting shipped to basic training. From when I did that to actually getting shipped out was less than 5 months, which I know some people wait for like more than that, almost a year. And then when I actually did go into basic training at Lackland in San Antonio, Texas, that was such a fun time. And truth be told, that's probably my favorite part of my Air Force career, I guess, besides SEER, just because that felt like the most military, if that makes sense. Like, of course it was horrible getting yelled at and like not having access to technology, but it's like those shared experiences of suckiness that really bonded us together. If you are going into basic training or Air Force basic training, I feel like you don't need to really worry about that. You're in good hands. Okay, the next set of questions are basically just asking how do I join the Air Force to become a flight attendant, and this has also recently changed and I don't know if it's been implemented yet, but I did make a post about this on my Instagram and I feel like I should really actually make a video about this as well. But just to sum it all up, you have to basically already be in the Air Force, and when you join you usually have to serve for at least 4 years or 6 years, and then you can either make the choice of getting out or continuing on in your career, and you can also have the opportunity to switch careers if that's what you so desire. So for the flight attendant career field, you have to already be in a flying job before switching over if you do want to apply to become a flight attendant. If you want more information about that, you can ask me, or you can go to your nearest Air Force recruiter, and I'm sure that they have all the information and more that you will need for that. Okay, the next question is, who are you transporting? So when we fly, and this comes from Google, it says flight attendants fly with a variety of people, including the president, senior staff, staffers, members of the president, and Secret Service. Which I feel like this is very true. I mean, obviously I haven't flown the president, but there are people who are flight attendants that get to fly on Air Force One with the president or the vice president or the first lady. Do you fly with the same crew or is it always different? It is usually different, just depends on like the mission itself. Who decides the menu for flight meals? Usually, at least here at Scott Air Force Base, we come up with the menu options, as in the flight attendants do. And I feel like it's a pretty cool thing to do that we have the freedom to do that, because I know in other bases, they already have like a set list for the menu, so they can't really deviate too much from that. Okay, do your duties change from one mission to the next? Yes, our missions usually do change. Again, it just depends on what type of mission it is. Sometimes I'll be loading the bag, sometimes I'll be serving some drinks, sometimes I will be the cook, sometimes I'll be helping out the cook. It just really depends on the people that we're flying slash the crew, because we do have newer people that do need to be trained up on certain things, so I'll just be filling in for whatever position is left that needs to be filled. And speaking of cooking, we have a couple questions concerning cooking. Do you have a passion for cooking, or was it something you had to adapt to? I feel like a good amount of people that get into this career field as a flight attendant don't really have too much experience in cooking. Like sometimes they'll do, but I feel like for others, like especially for me, I had no idea how to cook. And it's okay because we do get training on it, you know, here at Scott Air Force Base, but we also go down to Florida to get culinary training for it. But just because I cook doesn't mean I necessarily like to cook. It is very rough to be in charge of cooking, not just for me, not just for the crew, but for all the passengers. That is a lot of pressure, and just to make sure that it's right and not overcooked, undercooked, make sure it's presented well, it is a lot to deal with, especially if you're making it for like, well, like 30-40 people per leg. It is so much work, but I usually don't cook here when I'm at my place. A handful of you guys have been asking me about Air Force One related questions, and first one is, do you ever want to be an FA on Air Force One, or can I work on the aircraft that the president or vice president fly on? With time, it is possible for me to go into that job and onto those planes, and I know some people who do that kind of stuff, but at least for now that is not something that I'll be able to do for a couple years. A good amount of you have also been asking me if I'm going to be doing the full 20 years of service in the military, and then what I'm going to be planning to do after the Air Force. And in all honesty, I am not really sure what I'm going to be doing after the Air Force. I do plan on staying in for the full 20, or at least as long as I can. I mean, like, unless I win the lottery or something. So hopefully by some miracle I figure out what I want to do within the 12 more years that I have left. And then after that, we are into the more, I guess, random questions that don't really fall into any of the other categories, which I'm really excited to answer these. I think you said your flight attendant missions have ended for the year. If that is correct, what do you do for the rest of the year? I did say, and I did make a video and an Instagram post saying that I was done posting videos, flight attendant videos, for the rest of 2024, but just because I'm done posting for this year does not mean that I'm done with flight attendant videos in general. I have so much more to show you guys. Which also brings up another point which I wanted to make, is that like I don't think you guys realize how far in advance, or how like from when I actually go on the mission to when I post a video. You guys probably assume that it's like within like a day or two beforehand, or like I recently did it. Like no, these are like 6 months in advance. It's definitely a long period before I actually make the video, and I have my reasons for it. It's mostly just due to like timing and just me wanting to space things out, and it also again just for me to not be overwhelmed by making videos each and every weekend, because I get tired of doing that as well. As much as I love doing it, there are so many more places and so many more videos that I have in store for you guys for next year. I'm really excited about it, and hopefully you guys can stay whenever I am able to upload those next year. So stay tuned and stay subscribed for that. How do you deal with jet lag? You travel through so many time zones. I deal with it as I go along. Sometimes, especially like if we go just to South America, I mean the time change is not that drastic. Now if we're talking about me going to like Europe or Asia or Australia, those are pretty different, especially you know for having differences of 8 hours, 12 hours. It definitely takes a toll on my body. And how do I deal with that, you asked? I try to get as much sleep as I can whenever I'm on the plane. If I'm done with the duties that I'm doing, I try and get some rest. When we land and I have a layover, I do try and get some rest as well, but you guys know me and how much I love to travel and explore. So if I am busy or don't have the time to sleep, I usually just drink Red Bulls. I feel like I've drank so many Red Bulls, the sugar-free kind, because those are my favorite. We usually don't have them on the plane, so I usually have to bring my own. What do the pilots do, if anything? I wonder who made that question. But the pilots do a lot. Some people just have the misconception that, oh, they're just flying the plane. And I mean, like that is a big portion of their job. But I feel like they just do so much more than that, more than you guys can understand, more than I could ever understand really. There's so many calculations with the plane and other like trainings that they have to accomplish, and they're just like some of the coolest people that I've ever met. What's your favorite hotel? And I'm assuming favorite hotel that I've been in for my flight attendant journey so far. I feel like I am pretty spoiled sometimes whenever I get to go to all these cool locations, because we do stay at some pretty awesome hotels. But there are 2 hotels that stand out to me. But funny enough, I don't think you guys have seen these rooms yet, because they are in videos that I have not edited / posted yet. So I guess you guys can kind of treat this as like an early access kind of thing. So the first hotel that I absolutely loved was in Vienna. I don't know what about it I liked. I guess it was just like so regal and posh, and it was so fancy. Like granted, the room was pretty small, and the bathroom especially was pretty small, but I feel like how everything was decorated and how everything was presented definitely made up for the lack of space. And the second hotel that I stayed at that I definitely loved was a recent hotel actually. It was in Copenhagen, Denmark. Right from the get-go, right when we stepped into the doors, I was like in awe. Just the stonework, how everything was decorated, the architecture was so beautiful. And then I went into my room and it just continued the beautifulness of everything. The exposed wood, there was like this big wooden beam in the middle of my room, and I was like, this is so awesome. And then when I actually got to see like the view from my room from my hotel, that was amazing. It was such a good experience. Like those 2 hotels have got to be some of my favorites. Of course, I've stayed in so many other hotels that I absolutely adore. What's been your favorite place you visited in your Air Force travels? There's so many places that I've traveled to, and I've only been really traveling, like I said, as a flight attendant for barely 2 years, but I've gone to some incredible locations, and it's hard to choose just one. I'll have to go with, I don't know, I mean Japan was so cool, like Tokyo, that area. I love the culture so much, like the architecture, just the people, how I can get around everywhere, easily accessible walking, it's so good. And I think probably like Sweden or Denmark or that area in general. Like the Nordic Scandinavian countries, those are some of my favorites as well, just because I love that kind of culture, the Viking culture. And I feel like the people there are just so friendly to me for some reason. It's crazy. Then I don't know, another place is England, and I feel like a lot of people say that, you know, oh, it's overhyped, blah, 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 London, it's whatever. And like I thought that beforehand. And again, this is a place that I haven't posted a video about, which I will next year. But you know, just going to like the countryside or in the city, like no matter which area I went to, there was just so much to do and so much to learn and so much history to absorb. I was just like, yes, I love this so much. And this kind of goes with the last question, kind of doesn't. If you could live at any of your destinations, which one? And I feel like even though I liked a place, I wouldn't necessarily imagine myself living there. I mean, like if I had to choose a place where I would want to live or retire in, it would more than likely be in the United States. And I guess my number one choice would probably be San Francisco. I've always loved San Francisco, and I'll admit, like, sure, it has gone down and there have been some problems, especially within like the past few years in the city, but overall I still love it so much. But if I had to choose like a place overseas, and more than likely it would be like the UK. I don't know where in the UK. How does the rest of your crew feel about you doing YouTube? It's an interesting topic for me because I feel like either people don't know that I do YouTube, or they already know that I do, especially like the newer flight attendants, just because I do make flight attendant content obviously, and there are new individuals who are new flight attendants that sometimes do get stationed at Scott Air Force Base, and when they see me they're like, are you that guy that does that YouTube thing? And I'm just like, yes, yeah, I am. And I don't really know what to say to that. Like, I'm flattered and like, and I'm embarrassed at the same time. And I'm like, hopefully like the vibes that I give off on camera are the same vibes that I give off in real life. But again, like for the people that don't know or find out later on after knowing me, like they really enjoy it as well. They watch a few of my videos. I know some of my coworkers do, my leadership does, and I just hope that I am making them proud by doing these videos. Again, I don't do these videos to be popular or whatever. I just do these videos just because I want to share my experience with you guys, because I feel like I get to go to all these cool places and I love sharing all these memories and convincing people to travel. And then the next question is, are you going to create some merch? Well, if you guys haven't already seen, I have my Frassix 2024 shirt, and this was more of a mock-up because I was like, okay, cool, I kind of just want to see what a merch line would look like if I ever do release one. And I mean, like, I feel like this is pretty cool. I don't think I'll be doing any more merch for Frassix 2024, but for 2025, I do have a lot of things planned, and that includes the merch. I'm gonna be making more shirts. I think I'll be making a few more items. I don't want to spoil too much, but I do want to make more physical things that, you know, people that do watch my videos, I have had a good amount of people ask me if I'm gonna be making merch, and I don't want to make too much and like not enough people buy it. So if you guys really want merch from me, just, you know, comment it or message me on Instagram or whatnot, and I'll be more than happy to make you some official merch. I don't know about the money situation, how that's gonna work out, but I'm pretty sure I can cross the road when I get to it, because I feel like, honest, I love doing merch and doing merch mock-ups. But again, I do have big things planned next year for merch, among other things, so stay tuned for that. And then the last question that I have, which isn't really a question, this person just wanted to say, I love your vlogs and your zest for life. And I appreciate you for that compliment, and I do appreciate every single one of you guys for supporting me on this channel, whether it be for my flight attendant stuff or my reaction stuff, or for me as a person. Like, it's just so surreal that there are so many people out there that do support me and that want to know more about my life and more about my journeys. Again, I don't do it for the views. I don't do it to make money off of anything. I just do because I truly just want to show you guys my travels and just show you guys a bit of the world and more of myself. So thank you guys so much for your support, and that basically concludes this question and answer video. Hopefully it wasn't too long. I'm pretty sure it did drag on a little bit longer than I wanted it to, so hopefully if you guys made it to the end of this video, let me know in the comments down below. Again, if there's a question that you guys asked and I didn't answer, it's either because I just didn't want to answer it or I couldn't answer it. But if you guys do have some more questions, maybe I can make another Q&A video down the line. So leave them in the comments down below, or you can message me on my social media apps. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this Q&A video. I really did enjoy making this. Again, I've been wanting to make this for like the longest time, and hopefully this answered some of your guys' questions about me and my career and my life. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, all the usual things. Follow me on my social media accounts just to keep up with everything that I do. And until the next video, the wonder won't stop. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Woo.